So after months of gambling with the Nelk Boys, UFC President Dana White has finally showed up back to work, and he was grilled at the UFC 316 post-fight press conference by the media. They didn't push hard enough. I thought this was the time to truly break Dana White, but Dana White is breaking regarding the whole Jones and Aspinall situation. You can see that he's starting to lose his patience with Jon Jones because of Jon Jones, Dana White has to be grilled by the media anytime he shows up to these things, which is why, in my opinion, he hasn't been showing up to these press conferences as of recently, because he knows what questions he's going to get. They were asking him about the Jon Jones petition. They were asking him about a bunch of other things as well, and I wanted to go through that in today's video because there's a lot to discuss. So they kick off straight away at 2 minutes 12 into the video. I'm just going to let it play, and we're going to get straight into this. No more delaying. Let's watch Dana White squirm.
It's a conversation we've had many times now, the Tom Aspinall, Jon Jones fight.
Immediately, we're off the rip with the Tom Aspinall, Jon Jones fight. 2 minutes into the press conference. Forget UFC 316 that just happened. This is what we need to know.
It's a bit different now, right? Because Jon's been tweeting a lot about the fact that he's told you his plans, he's ready to vacate the belt, and all the rest of it.
He said he's ready to vacate the belt?
He said he doesn't care if you strip him, he would vacate it.
Fucking crazy. Yeah, I've been busy. I haven't been keeping up with the gossip.
What have you been busy doing? What have you been busy with? Did Steve Will Do It need saving from 200k down at the blackjack table? Like, what? What has he been busy with? Like, if he hasn't been noticing what's been going on with Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall and what Jon Jones has been up to, what have you been busy with? Power slap? You're the UFC president. Hey, Dana, UFC president Dana White, we have a question. Have you seen what's going on with Jon Jones, one of the biggest topics right now in the MMA world? Yeah, kid, I've been busy. I've been busy doing stuff. What have you been doing? It's your job to pay attention to these things. But conveniently, Dana White has been busy. Now, we all know that Dana White knows what's been going on with Jon Jones. This is just his way of, like, avoiding any sort of, like, responsibility for it. Or, you know, I haven't really been paying attention to any of that stuff, because if I was paying attention, then I'd have some real answers for you guys. And I'd really be held accountable for it. But no, he's been busy. The UFC president's been busy, so he hasn't been paying attention to the whole Jon Jones-Tom Aspinall situation. The guy who's trying to get the Jon Jones-Tom Aspinall fight made has just been way too busy to be paying attention to the Jon Jones-Tom Aspinall situation. I mean, this is what I'm talking about with Dana White, you know? Craziness. And he even says at one point later on, it's like, it's none of my business. It's literally his business, but we'll get to that in a second.
He comes back. He's either back today or came back yesterday or whenever he's in Thailand. So he's home. We'll be home tonight, and Tuesday we'll figure this out.
The classic Dana move. Tuesday we're gonna figure this thing out, which is why I even do these press conferences, because why not do the press conferences on Tuesday, dude? Anything that isn't nice to deal with Tuesday, you guys. You guys know I don't deal with this now. Then why are you here now then if we don't deal with this now? But I get it. It's not like we're asking him a question about what's next after UFC 316 for one of the fighters. This is a current topic. There's no wait until... What we got to wait for? The rankings to update? We got to wait till Tuesday. I got to see where Mario Batista's at in the bantamweight rankings first, because, you know, I need to know that before I deal with this whole Jon Jones thing. Craziness from Dana White.
Doesn't fight, because he also called out...
We'll figure this out.
If he doesn't fight, because he also called out Francis Ngannou. He said he'd rather fight Francis, which I assume...
Who did?
Jon.
Yeah.
Okay.
He doesn't even know about that. This guy has no clue, apparently, what's going on. Laughs about it, of course. You're like, come on, we're not doing that. Of course we're not doing Jones and Ngannou. Ngannou's got another fight on his PFL contract. Who called out Ngannou? How out of the loop is this guy? Like, genuinely. Sorry, who called out Ngannou? I was busy playing Baccarat with Steiny. I don't know. I don't know what's going on, guys. Come on. We got to wait till Tuesday. I mean, you can't make this up. You can't make this up with Dana. You're the UFC president. What do you mean who? What do you mean who called out? Oh, who called out Ngannou? Oh, it was Marab. Marab was calling him out, Dana. Didn't you hear? Come on, man.
Not that interested in that then. But if he doesn't fight Tom Aspinall and he does walk away, do you think he's ducked him? Would you?
Tom Aspinall's the guy. He's the guy.
That doesn't answer the question, but all good. It's good to know that Aspinall's the guy up next for Jon.
I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to see how this plays. Listen, if the guy wants to retire and doesn't want to fight, nothing you do. I didn't want Habib to retire. I thought DC should have stayed in it longer. So
this is a change from Dana White, by the way. This is him degrading. He's giving up territory here to the media and to the fans. Listen, if he doesn't want to fight, when Dana White starts saying he didn't want to fight, listen, if he doesn't want to fight, this is when you start hearing this kind of language out of Dana White where he's losing his patience with the fighter, basically. Once you start hearing that a guy don't want to fight, and by the way, Jon Jones doesn't want to fight, but once Dana starts saying it, instead of just defending them non-stop over and over and over again, that's when you know Dana's losing his patience with Jon Jones right now, basically. Gallivanting around the world, getting up to who knows what, while he's here having to face the music with the media after he's tried to avoid it for a few months.
It's none of my business.
What's that? I swear to God, when I heard this, I heard it while I was doing the live fight companion and I was lingering around afterwards on my live stream coping about Merab's win. And I heard Dana in the background. I swear this added to my Merab cope because I'm arguing with my chat and I can hear Dana in my ear and he's going, it's none of my business. It's literally your fucking business. It is, the UFC is your business. You are the UFC president. You know, this Jon Jones thing. It's none of my business, guys. It's none of my business. How is this even being said from Dana? I swear to God he's trolling. It's the only explanation is that Dana White is trolling us right now. Yeah, it's what do you think about this whole situation with Jones and whether or not he's going to fight again and if he's going to fight Tom Aspinall? Yeah, you know, guys, it's none of my business. You're the fucking UFC president that is responsible for getting this fight made, and it's none of your business. You have no idea what's going on right now with Jon Jones. He couldn't have laid me up for a video any better if he tried. It's insane. It's insane to see it.
I'll do what I can to make the fight if we can. If he's
So it is your business then?
talking that crazy shit, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
He didn't know that Jon Jones was talking that crazy shit because Dana White's just had his head in like a dustbin for the past. I swear to God, this guy's literally, and he's had his head in the sand, right? He's put his head in the sand. That's like a saying when you're like trying to avoid yourself of all responsibility. And he's actually done that. This is the perfect example of a man who's put his head in the sand and just ignored everything going on in the outside world to avoid stress. Because I know Dana's stressed. I know he feels the pressure. You can hear it in his voice. He's weak. He's timid, okay? He's ready to be just absolutely attacked by the media here from all sides. And to be fair, they did push him on a few topics. They got him, you know. Dana White's throat, as you can hear, he sounded like RFK Jr. up there. And he sounded like he's going to try and get the mercury taken out of tuna. You know what I mean? Like, the guy's throat is on its last legs. And I don't want to talk about what he's getting up to with Jon Jones as to why his throat is so destroyed. But, you know, Dana White's throat's destroyed. And he just got back from Thailand, by the way, did I mention. Either way, let it play. I can't believe that we're hearing this from him, though.
And last one on this. I remember a time when GSP announced he was walking away after the Johnny Hendricks fight. And you said he owes it to the belt and the company to at least defend it against the guy that rightfully should fight for it. Do you think that's kind of the same here with Jon?
Yeah, but Jon's been Jon since he walked in the door here.
Not that, and the fact that he's been doing this since he walked in the door and embarrassing the company since he walked in the door with his roid cheats and his controversies here and his cheating here and his fouls here and his PED tests here isn't a reason for you to not crack down on him the way you did GSP. It isn't the reason why you shouldn't crack down on him like you did to Tyron Woodley and other people who have been a little bit weird about their title reign historically. But this is when it comes to like a fighter just before their retirement. So he's specifically mentioned GSP to Dana White. Oscar Willis has here. Jon Jones having done this his whole career is not a reason to not crack down on him for it. It's a reason to crack down on him more for this behavior. Because he's been doing this. So you should be at your wit's end. When GSP started acting a bit weird for the first time after he won a fight and just decided to retire from the welterweight division, he came back years later to fight Michael Bisping, but he gave away the belt, he retired, he vacated, he didn't hold up the division. He literally announced his retirement on the mic and Dana went off on him. GSP's been a saint to the company, you know? He hasn't given you massive problems. But that was at a time when GSP wanted the drug testing for Johnny Hendricks with VADA and Dana White. And there was that whole confusion there about if he really wanted... it was a whole situation back then. But I think that the reason why... I think that Jon Jones being such a recurring offender when it comes to humiliating the company should make Dana even more vicious towards him compared to how he was to guys like GSP and other champions that we've seen before in the sport who have been mistreated by him, who have messed up maybe for the first time, and Dana's just put the hammer down on him. Whereas with Jon Jones, he's been doing this the whole time, and Dana's just letting him run riot on the whole sport. It's insane.
And yeah, I was younger then. Yeah. Really, shit doesn't go the way you would like it to go all the time.
I was younger then. We need Dana White young. We need a younger Dana White is what we need, dude. He's lost his fire. He's lost his passion. We need big, fat, pink Dana White who's bright red at these press conferences, struggling to breathe, ready to snap at any moment if a UFC fighter betrays his orders. That's what we need from Dana. That's what we need. We need a ruthless dictator in charge, and we've got this guy who's just showing up part-time, who doesn't know what's going on at all, conveniently. So he can't be grilled on it at the media day. Insane stuff. But there's more. There's a lot more, because even though Oscar Willis said, okay, last thing on this topic, it wasn't the last thing on that topic. There's a few other things in between I wanted to discuss here. He said, and this is another part, this is just a mini one, then we're going to get into the Jon Jones petition situation.
Dana here. To go back to Merab and his desire to have 4 title defenses this year, that's never happened before. The most was 3, and a few fighters have done that. Would you be willing to accommodate that schedule for him if he wants to do
I never say no to guys that want to fight too much.
Yeah.
There's no such thing.
Yeah.
He never says no to guys who want to fight too much. But he does say yes to guys that don't want to fight at all in Jon Jones. I never say no to guys who don't want to fight too much. The impression ain't working here because his voice is ruined, I guess. But he doesn't say no to guys who want to fight too much, but he does say yes to guys who don't want to fight at all if their name is Jon Jones. And I want to say another thing about this when it comes to never saying no to activity. He's got to pass that message along to some of his matchmakers. The amount of fighters that are on the roster that have messaged me, and these are fighters that have been around in the company that maybe haven't reached the rankings or put that run together to become a big name in the company, but they also haven't been cut immediately from the sport. The amount of fighters that like veterans in the UFC that have like 7 fights to 10 fights on their record in the UFC that are pretty 50-50, the amount of them that constantly talk about the fact that they're trying to get fights, but the UFC just won't book them. I mean, this isn't someone who's even messaged me about it. No, I think I did speak to a fighter about... Philip Rowe is a fighter on the roster who actually has a fight coming up very soon, who was talking about this, where he's trying to get a matchup, and he's trying to be active, but for whatever reason, they're just not giving him stuff. And there's a bunch of other fighters on the roster that are like this as well, where they want to be in there sometimes, but the UFC just has them at like the back of the queue. And they only really get opportunities to fight if it's on less than convenient, to say the least, circumstances to step in there and either save a day or step in on short notice here or take on this upcoming prospect on short notice there. There's a lot of fighters on the roster that are vets out there that are like looking to be active but just can't get fights because, I mean, if Dana's saying that he never says no to activity, he needs to pass that message along to Mick Maynard and Sean Shelby immediately because they must have not got the memo there. Either way, though, we move on to the Jon Jones petition situation, which is at 7 53 here. Let it play. This is on the Mac Life, by the way.
Jon Jones, did you see the petition online from the fans?
Yeah.
What did you just make of that?
Every human on earth was DMing it to me, and yeah.
Don't stop! Do not stop! He must see everything, okay? And this is proof that Dana White's been seeing everything about the Jon Jones, Tom Aspinall thing, that all the hard work that we have been doing as a community, Dana White's been seeing it all. So this is where we cannot let off the pedal, okay? We've got to put our foot down here, okay? He's seeing it all. He's seen the petition. Dana White almost saw like a nightmarish scenario unfold behind his eyes as the petition was brought up for Jon Jones there. I'm going to play that one more time.
Jon Jones, did you see the petition online from the fans?
Yeah.
What did you just make of that?
Every human on earth was DMing it to me, and yeah, I saw it.
I mean, I know you say you always listen to the fans and give the fans what they want. I'm just curious what you make of that.
How many fans are there worldwide now? Like, what's the number? It's like 400 million or something like that. Yeah, 130,000 people want to see him stripped.
Sure.
Yeah.
Not enough.
He's minimalizing the amount of signatures that this has gotten. And I know it's a silly thing that we're doing, yeah. But for him to just brush it off, listen, guys, there's 400 million fans worldwide, even though you only get 1 million to watch the Apex cards. No one watches The Ultimate Fighter. You get 1 million views on the Apex cards. You might get 1 million live viewers on the prelims of a pay-per-view. You're probably selling about 200k pay-per-views per UFC event. I know that there's a lot of people that are watching it illegally and finding out what happens afterwards without paying and just interacting with the social media posts. I understand that there's a lot of those, but Dana White, man, there ain't 400 million UFC fans just desperate to tune into the next Apex event every day. This is a lot. And I'll tell you this, from Dana White to just dismiss this as 100,000 people? It's nearly at 200,000 now, by the way. So he's already minimalized it that way. But once we get 100,000 people signed it, I mean, come on, you guys. He's basically saying that's nothing. But what he doesn't understand is this is 100,000 of the most hardcore MMA fans there are. If you're signing a fucking petition to strip Jon Jones and you're actually going out of your way to do that, you are a level above the casual fan, a level above the regular fan, and probably a level above the hardcore fan if you're genuinely partaking in this type of stuff. Like, this is real hardcore fan stuff here. This is real niche UFC loyalist stuff, basically, that's going on. And Dana White is just, oh, come on. Dismissing it. Dismissing the whole point of the thing. You know, and even the media member said there just a second ago, he said, you know, you always say that you give the fans what they want. Oh, come on. That's not what the fans want. The fans want Volkanovski versus Rodriguez, guys. That's what the fans want. I know what the fans want, guys. It's Volkanovski Rodriguez. No. He gives us what the fans want only when it suits the company, is what I'm hearing from this.
I'm not saying that. I'm just, it's kind of fucking, yeah.
Not enough.
Not enough signatures is what the reporter suggests, meaning that if it got even more, then maybe he would strip Jon Jones.
I'm not saying that. I'm just, it's kind of fucking silly.
Sure.
There's a whole situation that's quite silly right now as well, Dana. So basically the strip Jon Jones petition was the UFC fans saying we can be silly about this as well. Okay? We can both play this game where we're being silly and completely irrational with the way that this company is being run. Okay? It's just silly to say to strip Jon Jones. It's just a silly thing right now while he holds up the entire heavyweight division so he can gallivant around the world. 9:42. Another moment in this interview.
Obviously, you know, this Jon Jones thing is what a lot of people are talking about. I wonder, is there anything that PFL or Francis could do to make that a realistic option for you guys, or are you fully focused on Aspinall?
Yeah, it's Aspinall's fight. I mean, we've been talking to this kid forever about it, and it's his fight.
That's good to hear from, at least there's some logic there. Now, not for a second did I think that Dana White would even consider the idea of bringing Ngannou back to the UFC. And he even mentions that later in this video as well, which we're going to get to. But not for a second did I think that he would mention that. He's not going to work with PFL. He's definitely not going to bring Ngannou back after the horrific split that they had where so much was said between them. I mean, he's already... Dana White can't go back to promoting Ngannou after the stuff that you were saying about Ngannou when he first left the company. That's just something that's not going to happen. And if it does happen, it just goes to show that Dana White doesn't have the pull that he had years ago when it comes to the decision making in the UFC. If Ngannou is brought back to the UFC, it's because the rest of the people making decisions have A-okayed Ngannou coming back to the UFC, and Dana White has thrown a tantrum and left the meeting room in a strop. I can't believe you guys would do this. I can't believe it. I'm going to be a fool out there. You know they're going to eat me alive in the media day next time. I just imagine Dana throwing a strop in the meeting room when everyone else agrees to bring Ngannou back. And he's like, what? What are you talking about bringing Ngannou back? We can't do this. But no, he's definitely not going to bring him back. And it's good to hear that Aspinall is the fight.
Listen, you can't make people fight. If Jon doesn't want to fight, can't make him fight. We can try to make him fight.
We're hearing the language. This is, and you can see the glint in his eyes. When that twinkle gets back in Dana's eyes, he doesn't want to fight. Listen, you can't make people fight. This is vintage Dana creeping out because he's under pressure. We always get the best versions of Dana when he's under pressure. When he cut Makayev out of pure emotion. I swear he's been being stressed about all of this other stuff when it comes to Jones and some of the other things going on with the company. And he, I swear he just lashed out at Makayev because he was in a mood that day. I feel like that sometimes when it comes to the whole Makayev situation. But when you see that twinkle in Dana's eye, you're getting some Dana White classics. He doesn't want to fight. We can't make people fight, man. What do you want? I can't force a guy to fight. And this is where he's losing his patience with Jones. So we're still on him. We have to keep this up, okay? Because we're not that far along from he didn't want to fight. You know, Jon Jones didn't want to fight. I rang him. He said he didn't want to fight. He actually is going to say later that Jones has accepted the fight, which I'm going to disprove. And Ariel actually seems to heavily disprove as well, which we're going to get to in a second as well. But you see that twinkle in Dana's eye and that grin? Somebody doesn't want to fight all of a sudden, you know?
We can throw things at him that inspire him to want to fight, but we'll figure it out.
Regarding this TKO...
Yeah. And they go into other stuff, and he says that he actually wasn't cut from TKO, from promoting Canelo versus Crawford. And even though Turki Al-Sheikh said that someone else was going to be promoting it. And he said, you know, you can't believe everything you hear, even though Turki said it. So he goes into a whole other topic on that as well. But I wanted to keep it to the Jon Jones stuff. Dana White, man. Apparently he's thrown stuff at Jon to incentivize him. And there are stories and a lot of sources that are saying that they called Jon's bluff. Is what a lot of stories behind the scenes are. And that's a whole other topic that I'm going to get to here. But there are stories that they gave Jon Jones his crazy offer and called his bluff, basically. And Jon still said, nah, I'm still not fighting. So it wasn't about that. It was just about not fighting Tom. But we're going to move on to 1342 in the video here. Dana White, another question about the Ngannou re-sign. They're just... Look at him turning. Another question. He's like, God, somebody asked me about Joshua Van already. God. You know, anybody got any questions about Azamat Mirzakhanov? I mean, how about that Korean Zombie Jr.? Right? Nobody's asking about that. A couple questions here and there. No, come on, dude. I mean, who's going to ask me about that? Jesus Christ. What a performance from Macy Barber last weekend, right? He doesn't even... I bet you Dana still doesn't know she pulled out. You know? He's just been lost. He hasn't been paying any attention. How about that Macy Barber fight against Blanchfield? Who saw that one? Just completely out of the loop with the whole situation.
Dana, right back here. It was kind of crazy how much interest Jon showed in the Francis Ngannou fight. Like, there was some tweets going back and forth. What would happen if he came to you and says, like, I'll fight, but I won't fight Aspinall, I would fight Ngannou? Would you even be interested in that or no?
I don't have Ngannou under contract, and Aspinall's the guy.
Right. If you were put in the position, would you maybe try to get Ngannou back under contract, or no?
Probably not.
Yeah.
Definitely not. He's definitely not, because that would be a humiliating thing for Dana. Because he made such a strong point to get rid of Ngannou. And also, Ngannou has still got a fight under the PFL contract. So I think this was honestly, and I said this when I broke down the video of Ngannou first talking about moving to the UFC, this was Ngannou getting his name in the headlines a little bit to get his name out of other headlines, again, with the motorcycle and the Cameroonian girl and all of that stuff going on that he's now got away with, I think. I don't know if it's an ongoing thing, but he's getting his name out of other headlines and getting it in some new headlines, basically, which is saying that he wants to return to the UFC. But they aren't doing that. They just aren't going to do that whatsoever. So 15-14 is the next moment where they talk about... I wanted to talk about this as well. The crowded event goal despite the Apex. And we'll get to the Jon... Oh, no, you know what? We're going to skip straight away to the Jon Jones has agreed. Because I don't want to do some in-between bit. I'm going to save some bit for the end that I wanted to add on anyway. But we're going to go straight to the Jon Jones bit because I want to keep it on topic when it comes to the Jon Jones stuff. Let's let it play.
Yeah, one more thing on just Jon. I know you said you can't make him fight Tom, and it's ultimately up to him. I know you've...
Listen to that statement and how different it was from Dana a year ago. Because that's how long we've been waiting for this shit. Jon Jones says no to nobody. You know, there's a couple guys backstage where when you say they want to fight, they say yes. And Jon Jones is one of them. Remember the whole propaganda mission he went on about Jones when it came to whether or not he said yes to the Ngannou fight, even though he disappeared for 3 fucking years before the Ngannou fight was coming up? You know? Remember when Jones's next fight was set to be Ngannou and he disappeared for 3 years so he could bulk up to heavyweight just to show up with a pot belly and fight Cyril Gane on 4 weeks' notice, a guy who can't grapple? You guys remember that? Just disappeared for 3 years, and how Dana White was saying, there's guys backstage, and believe me, I know who says yes to fights, and Jon Jones, he's not scared of anybody, man, but now we're getting a lot of he doesn't want to fight. He's walking back stuff because he's losing patience.
Basically been on every wave in this sport. In your heart, do you believe that this is just the process, or is it ultimately you'll get him to fight in your mind?
It's definitely the process with Jon Jones. Been going through this since the day he started here, and it's definitely the process.
We've been going through, so we've always been struggling to get Jones to take fights, certain matchups. It's definitely the process with Jon Jones. Listen to the stark difference of what he was saying about Jon. Jon Jones ain't scared of nobody. You put Jon Jones in a room with anybody. Remember the whole media tour he went on? I covered all of it. Where Dana White was talking about, you put Jon Jones in a room with anybody, Jon Jones is walking out. He ain't scared of nobody, this Jon Jones guy. But now it's always the process with Jon Jones trying to get him into a fight.
Do you believe it ultimately will happen, though?
Him and Anderson Silva, every time, throughout the history of being in business with those guys, when it comes time to get them fight, it's like dealing with artists. It's interesting.
You can play back some interviews from Dana a year ago. What changed? He's fucking... And he says that he's not paying attention to anything that Jon Jones is doing right now. He is, and he's fucking pissed off. But I bet you anything, Dana White is pissed off with Jon Jones right now. Because he defended him, and I bet you he was defending him and going on that media tour to try and get Jon Jones sweet with him. So he would come back and take this fight and make things easier, and Dana White could go down as the guy who got all the big fights made. Boxing's getting all the big fights made, you know? So Dana White wants to be in on that as like, I get the big fights made. You know, that's Dana's pride. Dana's pride is that he gets all the big fights made and he gives all the fans what they want. He always talks about this. And listening to him change his tone here, I bet you anything, he's raging in his office, slamming his fucking phone across the table after Jon Jones had just said, I'm in Thailand living my best life. You fucking goofball! Throws his phone across the table. You know? Sean Shelby ducking out the way in the corner of the office. Scared to even question Dana as he's losing his shit in the fucking boardroom. I can already see it.
What's your gut? Like, in your gut right now, does it tell you that fight will end up happening?
What's that?
Like, in your gut, do you think that fight will...
Now, people were screaming, oh, oh, which is definitely a Marab team thing, to be screaming like that backstage on some little chant. But just so convenient, Dana just goes, what's that? Do I think the Jones fight's going to happen? What? I didn't hear that one.
ultimately end up happening?
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying it since the beginning. And Jon Jones agreed to do the fight. So Jon Jones was offered the deal and accepted the deal.
Now, they're going to go back to that in a second. And I wanted to take you to this aerial thing. And I made a whole video about this as well. Talking about how the UFC called Jon Jones's bluff. And Ariel has been really harping on about this. And Dana White said the most significant thing regarding Jones versus Tom Aspinall in a very long time. The problem is he didn't tell you the whole story. And this is when it comes to Dana White saying that Jones has agreed to the fight with Tom. He said yes to what they offered him. He told you that Jones initially accepted the fight, but he didn't tell you that Jon Jones went back on his word. Eventually, that part will come out. Whenever the story comes out of why this fight didn't happen, Dana will say that Jon agreed and then he backed out. I think it's safe to say the glazing is over. And I literally was just getting done saying that about how he's no longer glazing Jon Jones and how all of a sudden the tone around Jones has completely changed when it comes to Dana White, because he was being nice. He was trying to butter up Jones. He maybe was trying to oil him up, who knows. But he was trying to be nice to Jones, get buddy-buddy with him. Maybe Jones would do him a favor and make this whole thing easier. And maybe it will make the whole negotiation process a lot smoother, because if he was just trashing Jones from the get-go, then maybe Jones would just say, well, I'm not doing it anymore. I don't want to do it anymore. So maybe that's what the outcome would have been if Dana took that approach. But the tone has changed. The glazing has stopped. And I've been saying this as well because, I mean, we had reports a while ago of people saying that, you know, they offered Jon Jones the offer that he asked for. You know, the FU money that he asked for to fight Tom Aspinall? Apparently they offered him that and called his bluff on it. And he then said no. So he's apparently, and according to Ariel here, we'll see if this stands true moving forward. Jon Jones went back on his word. So he said, if you offer me this, I'll take it. And that's Dana White's, he agreed to it. And then they offered him that. And then Jon Jones went, actually, no. I didn't think he would actually offer me that. I was trying to price myself out. I'm good. If that's reality, which is very, very likely, if that is reality, that Jon Jones asked for an amount of money that was so unfathomable that he thought the UFC had no chance of meeting it in order for him to fight Tom Aspinall, and they actually offered him that amount of money, and he still said no, we have never seen ducking like this in any sport ever. Straight up, because that proves it's not about anything else but the fact that he doesn't want to go in there against Tom Aspinall. Which is just an insane situation. But let's move on. 22-15 into this. He goes into another situation about this whole Jon Jones thing. And I'm going to get back to a crowded event thing at the end that I wanted to discuss here.
Father, you said Jon has agreed to fight with Tom.
To clarify, you said that Jon agreed to fight Tom, yes?
Jon agreed to fight Tom?
And all of a sudden, he don't hear shit. Every time with Dana. Wait, I accidentally said that a second ago? What? Wait, you caught me saying that? I thought I was thinking that. I didn't realize I said it out loud. Fuck. Wait, Jon agreed to fight Tom? Is that true? He's letting shit slip, and now he's stuck. And he's going to have to say, yeah, I guess Jon agreed to fight Tom.
Is that what you just said there? Before, like on the last answer, you said...
He still can't hear. Very simple. You've heard every other question. Very, very simple to hear. You've heard every other question. There's no people chanting in the background now about some random noise going on that maybe could justify you not hearing it before.
To clarify, you said that Jon...
You said Jon has agreed to fight with Tom.
Doesn't hear it the first time. Looks off for help.
Clarify, you said that Jon agreed to fight Tom, yes?
Literally into a megaphone by the sounds of things.
John agreed to fight Tom?
Is that what you
Here's it absolutely fine enough to repeat it to them.
just said there? Before, like on the last answer, you said
What's the question? He's panicking like, oh shit, did I leak something? I shouldn't have said that, right? He's just saying shit to get people off his case. But by saying it, they're now back on his case. And he's misheard it 3 times already and gone, what? God, they're going to chew me out in the boardroom tonight. Holy shit, I fucked up. Holy shit, I fucked this one up.
John agreed to fight Tom, yes.
so.
There we go. We got it out of him.
But he hasn't signed a contract or anything.
Right. Yeah.
So that's
I mean, you guys have heard me for the last however long. I said, I guarantee you this fight's going to happen. This fight's going to happen. Fight's going to happen. You guys told me the crazy shit that was going on Instagram and all these other places. But yes, I've been saying John is going to fight Tom.
I want to say this fight's going to happen, is something that Dana keeps going on about. If it does, congratulations, MMA community. We did this. And I know that's a very jokey thing to say now with the Ilya Tapuria fans, like, we are the best in the world and we are going to KO Holloway. If this fight does end up happening, we need to pat ourselves on the back, because if we didn't grill Dana on this, and we didn't push for this as hard as we did, as an MMA community, in every comment section, on every UFC post, then I really don't think this would have happened. So I really think this is a fan movement thing, where the whole fight has been made, and they've kind of been locked into giving us what we want, because it's so undeniable what the fan base wants here. We want Jon Jones, Tom Aspinall, and you're going to give it to us, or you'll suffer the wrath, is all I'm saying. Okay? There'll never be a comment section safe again. You can post a comment, you can post an Instagram post a year from now. I know what the top comment's going to be. Okay? So they're stuck now. The fan backlash has been so much, they have to appease us. They know the fan base, in my opinion, is on thin ice right now. So we'll see. We'll see. They've got the MMA fan base on a tightrope with the recent quality of events. So we're actually getting what we want, and it's because of our bullying that it's happened.
So there were some rumors out there that you guys had offered him his fuck you money and he turned it down.
There are rumors of that. Good job, media members. I think this is Mike Bond, I think, if I can hear the voice correctly. Good job, media members. There are a lot of rumors of that they offered Jon Jones his fuck you money and he still turned it down. There's strong rumors of that, as I just mentioned.
Rumors out there that you guys had offered him his fuck you money and he turned it down.
Come on, guys.
You guys had offered him his fuck you money and he turned it down.
Unless you hear it come from here, or we put out a press release, don't believe any of this bullshit. It's like the Turkey stuff, you know what I mean? And everybody's saying, I know Turkey said some stuff, but...
I'm going to get to that. But unless you hear it from us, it's bullshit. How's McGregor Chandler coming along then? You announced that one. Unless you hear it from us, it's not true. Oh yeah, because the UFC is known for telling the truth about things that are to come. How's McGregor Chandler coming along, Dana? Is it coming along well? We still cooking that one up? Is that one still done and official? I remember you announcing it at a press conference. We still good on the... I can't wait for McGregor Chandler next weekend. It's going to be a big one. Because they don't lie at the UFC. They don't make shit up in terms of news to try and coerce people into doing what they want under pressure of the news being announced. They would never do that. They've never announced a fight that a fighter hasn't agreed to yet in order to try and coerce the fighter into agreeing to it due to the fan pressure that's now going to be on them because the fight has already been announced by the company. They wouldn't do that. That's just something they just wouldn't do. Dana White. And then he goes on to say this.
You hear it come from here, or we put out a press release. Don't believe any of this bullshit. It's like the Turkey stuff, you know?
And this is when I was making the video. So Dana White's watching, man. What's up, Dana? Dana White's watching because I made a whole video about how he wasn't any longer going to be promoting Canelo versus Crawford because Turki Al-Sheikh said that he wasn't. And listen to what Dana says about the Turkey Al-Sheikh.
Put out a press release. Don't believe any of this bullshit. It's like the Turkey stuff, you know what I mean? And everybody's saying, I know Turkey said some stuff, but unless...
I know Turkey said some stuff. Yeah, the guy who's promoting it said that you weren't. I know he said it, but come on. Unless I say that I'm not doing it, then I am.
Unless we come out and say something, it's all bullshit. I just don't get sucked into that stuff anymore. I don't even care. I don't even listen to it. And most of the time, the shit that I hear that happens, I hear from you guys when I come to things like this. Otherwise...
Which is why you've been fucking avoiding things like this for the past few months. Which is why we haven't seen you in ages. Because when you come to things like this, you hear everything that's going on, and you have to face the music, and you come undone, and you break. Like now.
I don't care, and I don't pay attention to any of that stuff. But yes, Jon agreed to fight Tom.
We'll see. And if it does happen, it's because of us that it did. There was another thing that I wanted to discuss at the end of this, and that was the crowded event situation, because this is another thing that's making the UFC fall apart a little bit here. The crowded event thing is crazy because just a little anecdote at the end here that I thought was interesting during this interview. The Jon Jones segment is over. You know, if you want to pay attention to this, you can. I've been complaining about the Apex for such a long time, and I know every fan out there has been complaining about the Apex. I know that he said the Umar rematch could be next, but he also said that Sandhagen could be next. I've already spoken about that. But this is something interesting about the crowded event situation here, about going to Azerbaijan in a couple of weeks' time.
2 weeks, you'll take the promotion to Azerbaijan for the very first time. What are you expecting out there? How excited are you to cross off another place to bring the UFC?
Yeah, I love it. And, you know, I like going to new places and exposing the live event to people. We had a bunch of people here tonight who had never been to a live event before. And when you talk to people after they see it live, it's different than watching it on television. So
get out of the fucking Apex then. It's 2025 and you said this shit was going to be over soon. We're still in the Apex every month. Why are we still there? We're in the and we're finally getting some crowded events now, and hopefully we'll move away from it. But I'm still seeing announcements pop up of a September Apex card. When is it going to be very, very rare that we're in the Apex? Honestly. I know there's certain fighters, there's so many fighters on the roster now that they kind of have to be in the Apex sometimes, but it needs to start being few and far between. So hopefully Dana White actually lives up to this and starts getting us out of that fucking shitty Apex, man.
Anytime I can get that experience to bring people in that have never been, I love it. It's literally my goal over the next however many years till I drop dead. Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
It's his goal to get around, but where's the Czech Republic event for Yuri Prohaska? Jan Blachowicz was a champ. You never went to Poland. You know what I mean? Dricus du Plessis champ right now. We're not in South Africa. There's so many opportunities for international fights right now. Like, why the fuck are we in Azerbaijan? No, seriously, why are we in Azerbaijan? We should be in South Africa. We should be in the Czech Republic. We should be in these types of events. Marvin Vettori was in the mix at the top 5 of the division. We never went to Italy. We never been. Maybe sometime historically, but like, come on, we need to capitalize on some of these international names and get into these international areas when you have the talent at the top with belts around their waist. I don't believe this from Dana. I hope he follows up with this, and I hope there's pressure to make him go in with this. But speaking of live events and how he wants to get into more live events, there's no fucking pay-per-view in September. You know how there's a pay-per-view every month? There's no pay-per-view in September.
Dana right here.
Yeah.
Alex Bahunin tweeted out that as of today, there will be no September pay-per-view. Can you confirm or deny that?
No September pay-per-view. No September pay-per-view.
No September. Oh, Noche? Yeah.
Yeah, there's no pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so there's no UFC pay-per-view in September this year.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. We're going to go. We don't have a date for that one yet, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so what happened was we were going to be down in Mexico. The arena's not ready for us, so we had to...
Yeah, just screwed up plans. Gotcha. Yeah. So
we're falling apart here. The ship is falling apart, okay? UFC needs to lock in now. This next 6 months is going to be a very telling season of UFC. So we'll see how they deliver it. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Toodle pip. I'll see you later. Goodbye. You know I had to make a video on this. Go check out the Mighty Guru show. I thought I'd plug that again. It posted today. I've come a long way, dude. 7 years. I even posted a video on my Twitter and my Instagram today. The MMA Guru official is my Instagram. My Twitter is that boy MMA Guru. For some reason, I couldn't find any other name. Everyone else took my handles. But either way, go check out the Mighty Guru show on Demetrius Johnson's YouTube channel. We're going to be doing a pay-per-view recap show every pay-per-view moving forward. And I guess we're not going to be doing one for September because there's no pay-per-view there. So, listen, go check it out. The Mighty Guru show is a new show I have with Demetrius Johnson. And enjoy. See you later. Goodbye. Toodle pip.